Good evening once again, all my comic collecting friends out there in YouTube land. It's Matt, Comic Order 410, and I'm here to bring you the final installment of my stuff from Baltimore Comic Con this year. I showed this book last video because Fred Hembeck was there and he signed this for me, but I just wanted it up as a reference for those of you who aren't familiar with him. Like Nadawog said, he does satires or parodies of the Marvel universe, and did a lot of good humor books in the 80s, and he was super nice. And I forgot to show this last time. These sketches were really modestly priced. They were only about $25 to $35 each, because you know, a lot of cartoonists can draw pretty quickly, but I really wanted this because it has Steve Ditko's Creeper, who I'm a big fan of, and then the Charlton characters, who I also really like, Blue Beetle, The Question, and Captain Atom. So pick that Fred Hembeck sketch up. Happy to have that. He was very nice. I actually picked this up at my local comic shop a few weeks back. I didn't have this, and with the TV show coming out, I saw it was going up, and they had one, and they wanted $10 for it, so I grabbed it. And shame to say I haven't read this. I didn't buy it when it came out, even though I've been pulling Batman and Detective for years. But seeing that Greg Rucka and Ed Brubaker wrote this, I may have to track down the trade and see, because I'm a big fan of their work usually. Was lucky enough to find some good stuff in a half-price box, and I got Alan Moore's From Hell #1. This is a first print, and awesome painted cover by Eddie Campbell. I think his artwork really suited this series. But got a first print with the discount. It was $10. Can't beat that. And this had $75 on it. It was all 10 issues of V for Vendetta, and with the half price, I got it for $37. So $3.75 an issue is not bad. And they're all in nice shape except for the final issue. So there's book 1, book 2, book 3. Being an Alan Moore fan, I should have had this completed a long time ago. I have the trade, but no excuse. So, but I guess good things come to those who wait. I mean, that's, you know, most books are $3.99 now, so getting these for $3.75 definitely wasn't walking on them. But happy to have them. Now I just got to find find Warrior #1 and be happy. There goes book 4, book 5 of V for Vendetta, book 6, book 7. This is probably my favorite cover of the series. Very cool. Book 8, book 9, and number 10, which I said it has some creasing up there in the top corner and a small chip or two out of the cover there, but very happy to have those. Wasn't a whole lot of great deals, you know, a lot of dealers, the hot books of the moment. I mean, got Harley Quinn and Deadpool and The Strain, and some of the other stuff was just, the prices that were on them was just absurd. Oh, and Guardians, what they were asking for, like the Rocket Raccoon mini. I saw people asking $75 and $100 for #1 of the Rocket Raccoon mini. So don't know if people were buying them, but you know, a lot of the hot books of the moment were really, really price high. So was happy to find some 50% off bins at all. But I was also really happy. Eric Powell came to Baltimore, I think 4 years ago, and met him then. And I've heard people who've had mixed experiences with him. He was really nice when I met him years ago, and his table was packed Saturday, so I went back Sunday. There was not much of a line, and he was really nice again. He did all these Marvel Monsters groups covers. They're all awesome. But I picked this Devil Dinosaur one to get signed by Eric Powell because it's Hulk versus Devil Dinosaur, and that's just badass. So, big fan of Warren Horror, so I got Eric Powell to sign my creepy relaunch. Signature's kind of hard to see. It's in black right there on the guy. But cool painted cover of the Hellhound there. Really dig this cover to Creepy #2. The Axe Murderer. Eric Powell signed my Avatar Goon number 3, and this is a really gorgeous copy. Signed my Albatross Exploding Funny Books Goon number 4. Very cool cover again. I got, first time I met him, he signed my number 1. Signed my Goon number 41, which I had also got signed last year by artist Mark Buckingham. It was really, really nice too. And he signed this on the inside. This is the Goon, if I can get it open, the Goon Satan Sodomy Baby one-shot. Did a nice little sketch of Frankie there. Didn't even ask, thought that was very cool. He's awesome. Awesome guy. And we had a nice talk about Tales from the Crypt, EC, and Jack Davis, because this recent Goon One for the Road one-shot has a beautiful cover by the illustrious Jack Davis. And he signed that for me, and we had a nice talk about how cool Jack Davis is. Many of you know I'm a big fan of Empire, and it's written by Mark Waid, art by Barry Kitson. Got Barry Kitson to sign these last year and got Mark Waid to sign them this year. And again, I want to recommend picking this up. If you get the trade, there's only 6 to 8 issues. They were image printed too, and DC did the 6-issue mini, reprinted the first 2 and did the 6-issue mini. So amazing read. I recommend picking it up. And actually, they're getting ready. Mark Waid and Kitson just finished a follow-up to Empire. And the first issue is free online, free to read. And they're coming in published form soon. So keep your eyes out, and I highly recommend this. But now I have them double signed. Kitson last year, Mark Waid this year. And he was very enthusiastic and said he was, happy to revisit this. And for you Daredevil fans, I said, Daredevil's the best book Marvel's doing. Hope they keep, I'm glad they've kept you on it for so long. So they like to change creative teams. He said they're going to have to pry that book out of my cold, dead hands if they want it back. So thought that was great. But here's my Empire number 2. Beautiful cover. This is the second issue of the Image series. And now we're to the DC series. Cover art on these are just beautiful. There's number 2. Number 3. Empire number 4. This is maybe my favorite cover of the bunch. Just gorgeous Barry Kitson cover there with the skulls and roses, and he's great and such a nice guy. Empire number 5, and the final issue, number 6. And again, you can read the first issue of their new Empire series online for free. If I can find the link, I'll put it below. But also a big fan of this series. Got Barry Kitson to sign my Legion of Superheroes number 1 last year, and Mark signed it this year. So, know a lot of critics paying that series. I dig it. John Cassidy was here, and I didn't realize it. He was at Baltimore Comic Con years back when they launched the Lone Ranger, and he had such a mob at his table because it had been a few years. When I got up and talked to him, I realized that was 2007, so this is his first appearance at our show in 7 years, and he was tough to get near. But I finally, Sunday, he was only signing for 2 hours, and I waited in line and met him, and he was super cool. John Cassidy signed my Superman 707. Beautiful cover. He remarked on this, he's like, I haven't seen this book in years, I never see this. And he's like, you're the second person who brought it to me today. And this is John Cassidy's variant to Thundercats The Return number 1. John Cassidy drawing lineup. Doesn't get too much cooler than that. I told him I really like this cover. This cover kind of goes under the radar. It's not worth anything. It's just a beautiful, beautiful Black Widow cover by John Cassidy. And I told him I really like this cover, and he's like, yeah. He's like, I really like it too. And he's like, occasionally somebody brings it up and mentions how much they like it. He's like, but doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but maybe it will now that Black Widow is a lot more popular. Big fan of this series here. Sorry. Big fan of this series here. It's a 5-issue mini, 5 Ronin. And he did the variant cover to number 1. John Cassidy's version of the Samurai Logan. Really recommend that series. That's a good one. This is the 2007 Baltimore Comic-Con exclusive variant to the Lone Ranger number 1, and John Cassidy signed that for me. And this is possibly my favorite Lone Ranger cover John Cassidy did, to issue number 7. Really love this. And he signed it in gold ink. Just a beauty of a cover there. He is one hell of an artist. Really enjoyed this series when it came out. Joss Whedon writing chores on Astonishing X-Men with John Cassidy on art. This is a must-read. If you haven't read this series, I highly recommend picking it up. This is number 1. John Cassidy signed that. This is the 1 in 25 variant to Astonishing X-Men number 1, also by John Cassidy. Beautiful cover. Issue number 2. Remember, some people had trouble finding this when it came out. This issue, the print run dropped off a little bit from number 1 to 2. So in many cases, number 2 goes for more than number 1. This is probably my favorite cover of this series, Astonishing X-Men number 3. Beautiful Wolverine cover. John Cassidy signed my Astonishing X-Men number 13 sketch cover. Another beauty by a master. And I told him how much I love this series, and, you know, Brubaker and Epting's run is great, but people stop talking about this, and this is one hell of a series by John Reber and John Cassidy. And I told him how much I love this cover, and he said, you know what? He said, that's the only piece of my artwork that's hanging in my home. I kept this original cover, it's framed, it's hanging in my office. And he said, I just love this cover. And he told me, and I think, Hippie, you're going to like John Cassidy even more than this, said his 2 favorite characters in the history of comic books, Captain America and the Lone Ranger. So there you go. But again, I recommend picking up this series if you're a Cap fan, you haven't read it. This issue came out not too long after 9/11. It had a big reaction. And this is number 2. Sign that for me as well. And the last book I got John Cassidy to sign was my Planetary Batman one-shot. Very cool. His work on Planetary with Warren Ellis is amazing too. Got to meet one of my all-time favorite artists, Alan Davis, and this Excalibur one-shot was just huge when it came out in the late 80s by Claremont and Davis. And a beautiful cover. He has an interesting signature. He signed it right there. Before I go on, quick story. He wouldn't sign my Eclipse Comics Miracle Man books. And he went into a story about it. He was polite. He wasn't rude. He just said, look, I'm not to be rude. I don't sign those because Alan Moore and Eclipse took my original art that Warrior Comics had permission to only print once. They didn't get legal right to use it. Alan Moore helped them get it, and they reprinted my work and never paid me for it, so I don't sign them. And he basically said they intentionally, you know, they said, well, we can use Miracle Man to, you know, over here when Eclipse did it, they had to call it Miracle Man. When they brought him back in Warrior, they could have used Miracle Man because they said maybe Marvel will get upset, and they're like, no, we've already used Marvel Man. And plus, it'll draw attention to the book. So that's why they stuck with Marvel Man over there. But over here, they weren't allowed. And, yeah, he just had a lot of great stories behind the scenes. And don't think him and Alan Moore are on good terms because of that. That's his version of the story. I'm not by any means saying Alan Moore stole the guy's work. But that's what he said. He said Alan helped Eclipse steal my work and they didn't pay for it. So that's between him and Alan Moore. I'm just repeating the story he told me of behind why he would not sign my Eclipse Miracle Mans. But that being said, I'm a huge fan of both Alan Moore and Alan Davis, and I'll keep buying both their work. So, yeah, but they're actually reprinting Miracle Man now. Marvel is, and now they'll call it Marvel Man. So, yeah, but the new Miracle Man series, apparently, they're Alan Davis is on board with helping him remaster the art, and he's getting paid. So I guess everybody's happy now. All I do know is so many great creators worked on Miracle Man, and there's a lot of history behind the scenes between those guys, between Alan Moore, Todd McFarlane, and Neil Gaiman. So a lot of stuff with that book, interesting history. Anyway, moving on. Alan Davis signed my Avengers Invaders #4 variant. Beautiful book. Really love this Elseworlds mini. I highly recommend it up. It's a must-read for any Justice League fan. The Nail by Alan Davis and Mark Farmer. And he signed book 1, book 2. As you can see by this cover, I think it's a must-read. And a lot going on. And book 3. Such a great story. And Alan Davis signed my Elseworlds Superboy's Legion #1 and 2. Also worked on this with Mark Farmer. That was #1, and this is issue #2. So glad he came over, because I finally got to meet one of my favorite artists. Moving along, talking about favorite artists, everyone knows I'm a big Swamp Thing fan. Rick Veitch and John Totleben were there this year, so I was super happy to meet them. Rick Veitch signed my Swamp Thing #51. Great cover. I know Thuggy has some original art from these 2 issues. And I got Rick Veitch to sign my Swamp Thing 52. This 2-part story with Batman. I absolutely love this storyline. And what's weird, Veitch worked on 52, part 1 of it. 53, it was John Totleben. And Totleben signed this for me, too. Awesome to meet them for a Swamp Thing fan. This is my Swamp Thing 37. It's not in the best shape. It's not horrible, but it's well loved, as I told them. And they said, it's refreshing to see somebody getting their book signed that they actually read a couple times. So this is my copy from when I was a kid, and I was really young when I got this book, probably like 8 or 9 years old. So, but it's a pretty hot book right now, but it doesn't matter because mine's not the best shape, and I'm not getting rid of it. But Totleben signed it there for me, and Veitch signed it there for me. And it's very cool because Constantine and Swamp Thing go together like peanut butter and jelly. Swamp Thing #44, it's a little out of order, but I really like this cover. Totleben signed that for me as well. #50, another one of my favorite stories. Totleben signed that, and Veitch signed it down there. And the last book they signed, my favorite Swamp Thing individual issue story, Swamp Thing Annual 2. Totleben signed that. The final thing I'm going to show, as I said last year, I got a commission piece from Barry Kitson, but he didn't get to do it. And he told me, gave me his email, and he said, I will make it up to you next year. You'll be first on my list. And I got to him late Saturday, so I said, just make me first Sunday. So I met him there when it opened Sunday morning. And Barry Kitson is a great man. He goes all out for his fans. He did me this massive... he inked this with a brush and ink. Did a rough pencil, inked it, and then painted it with watercolor. My original Swamp Thing by Barry Kitson. Wow. Wow. I mean, and it's massive. Look at the work Barry put in on this. I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled. The earthy tones in the background, the mushrooms growing out of his back, and I mean, some artists would charge you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars for something like this. And it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't as much as Matt Wagner's commission. Barry Kitson takes good care of his fans. His commissions are reasonable, and look at the quality of his commissions. Cannot wait to get this Swamp Thing piece signed and put on my wall. Just blown away. Barry Kitson is one hell of a man. One hell of a nice guy to his fans. If he ever comes to a show near you, do yourself a favor. Go check him out on the first day. see if you can get on his commission list, because you might be surprised at how much he charges you for something beautiful like this. So, everyone, thank you for checking out all my stuff I got from the con. Sorry it went on so long, especially this one. I'm over 20 minutes, but I know it was a lot of stuff, so thank you all for stopping by and checking everything out. I always appreciate your time. Everyone, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and enjoy your comic books.